part 7, the final part. If you've followed us through all 7 of these, or all 6 so far into this number 7, then congratulations, you are now CBD qualified in self-employed agency officially from me and you. That's our standpoint on it. There's a certificate waiting for you. If you DM us, we will send it to you.
Send you a key ring as well.
A little one of these. Alan the avocado, highly famous in the world. In fact, my wife has just bought some swimming costumes for the girls for the family holiday this year, and they are the Alan images all over them. So you'll see us. You'll see us by the pool in those. I'll be rocking mine. Anyway, this episode is about the lessons that we've learned individually over the last 4 years of running Avocado and now moving into other businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they've got all different topics we can cover here, from marketing, being business owners, what we've learned about ourselves, business partnerships as well, launching agents and companies, and everything else in between. So one thing that I think we're hugely proud of is the success rate of the Avocado partners that come on board within the brokerage that manage to make a successful business. And then we see the rewards of what they've achieved and what they've created, you know, in their own eyes and in their own socials and in their conversations.
Yeah, we started with a target to never lose a partner. Yeah. Because we were taught, and this is part of lessons that we've learned, we were taught by a business coach to set your targets so high they're unattainable, but if you get anywhere close to them, you'll have done a really, really good job. Yeah. So that's my first lesson. Gone straight into it.
Yeah, straight in. I mean, we knew that it would never continue forever, and it didn't. But at the same time, we did a bloody good job of getting through the first 2.5, maybe even 3 years without losing someone. And then, I think the other thing that we've learned is that, and we spoke about it in the last episode actually, but the type of people that this fits. Mm-hmm. And I think we've now been in a position where always from the beginning we said no to certain people, but we now know the kind of the personality profile, our avatar, if you like, the avocado avatar as a partner, as an agent that can start a business under the brand. And I think because we've learnt that, we can now save people a lot of time and energy, including ourselves. Yeah. There's a power in saying no.
That's because we always knew who our perfect client was. Yeah. As a home mover. But we didn't know who our perfect agent was, and it took some time to figure that out. Who's worth investing time and money into, and whether that's worth their time as much as us. Yeah. Mm.
I think also we've probably learnt the importance of like job specking a little bit as well. The art of, we quickly realised that this business is going to be a hell of a lot more successful when we start to put people in specialist boxes, including ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think what I see in a lot of businesses, especially when there's multiple shareholders or even an owner and a manager or a lead director, or if they're the same and they're doing the same sort of stuff, there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of wastage there. We quickly realised that we needed to kind of split up what we were doing, ultimately trust each other in terms of the role that we were going to take on. And then the same is applied for probably the third parties that we operate with as well, because a lot of the people that we work with have grown over the time that we've grown and expanded into different segments of what they do. And we've always gone, right, you're our website guy, you're our CRM person, you're our this, you're our that, and locked in on that. And when they've kind of deviated into something else, we've kind of just said, no, we'll keep you doing this part of it. Yeah. And I think that's been quite an important lesson for us as well, because it's meant we've got specialisms in different areas, but it's very clear in terms of who fits in what box. So that's probably helped from a business point of view as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've tried to stay true to, because if someone dabbles in something else, they're not going to be the number one at what they do. They might become the number one day, which is great, but until then, we'll continue with who is the number one to do those things. Big thing that I've learnt, and this comes from working in cutthroat corporate agency where everybody hates each other and no one's allowed to talk to each other. No one's allowed to talk to the competition apart from to slag each other off. Yeah. And you're not allowed to refer anything outside of the business because it's more profitable to keep it in the business. I get why they're doing that. That's fine. You're building a culture, you're building a team, you're building an army to feed your business. Becoming self-employed, I walked into a totally different world where almost total strangers were willing to support you because they saw something of you in them. Because they'd been through the first 12 to 24 month cycle themselves, whether that be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. If they run their own business and they see me starting my own business, unwavering support. It was call me anytime, day or night.
Yeah.
Ask me anything. I'll buy you a coffee. We can do whatever you need to do. I'll open my books. I'll open my experience and you can have it for free. And I'll just give you anything you need, which just blew my mind, to be honest.
Yeah.
And those people will support your business more than your family and friends will.
I was going to say, because the flip to that is the people that you think will be by your side, normally not actually by your side. You know, when you keep going, after the buzz goes of the launch, people just get bored of it and they put it to one side and almost don't really care, and that's fair enough. It's on you, isn't it? But those people that you weren't expecting that come out, that have done it, that have been there, they've got their business off the ground. They know the heartache you're going through, and they go, you know what, I'll help you. I'll lift you up a little bit. And I think we've tried to return that favour actually with people that we've seen doing the same thing. As
much as you can, even if it's in the same business and they're opening their own estate agency. We've been through it. We've done it.
Yeah.
You're not a competition to us. You're just running a business in the same industry. So the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned. And I still never forget people WhatsApping you saying, I've just met a guy in the paint shop, told him to use you. And you're like, why? There was no reason for you to do that.
Yeah.
But thanks.
Yeah.
Unbelievable kind of support where they're just, and we had a guy who I think we called him out to do a couple of appliance fixes. And then suddenly there was, the guy from the appliance fixing company told me to use you, blah, 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 blah. And he came in the next day, I gave him a bottle of wine and he said, thanks for recommending that person. They've listed their house with us. He goes, I always recommend you though. And it's like, wow. Yeah. I had no idea.
Super fans.
Never asked him for anything.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is amazing, the world of business owners that kind of do that. It is very, very interesting, very powerful. And I think those are the little things that we've probably learnt that we weren't expecting, because you're in that kind of silo of estate agency employed is quite an intense kind of silo that you sit in.
Yeah.
And that has been really interesting. I think the big lesson for me that I'm still learning and that I've tried to get better at and constantly evolve at is the organisational planning of reactive and proactive. Because as that kind of mindset kicks in of ideas and new things and excitement, I think naturally a business owner has a lot of ideas. All of a sudden they become quite creative and they think, oh, this could work. And then you've got a lot of balls in the air and it's hard to keep them all up there. So we mentioned the power of saying no, but also the power of giving yourself time to be proactive.
Yeah.
You know, like today, for example, we've said, right, let's roll the diary out. Let's get these videos. Let's get proactive with our content, our recording. And that serves us really well because we committed to it and we stuck to it. Whereas if that's not going in the diary, you just do another day and you can quickly, with just having your diary set at 90% reactive, if you like, you can quickly just see the years turned into another year and you haven't moved on.
Yeah.
Whereas if you really get strict with it and go, right, 40% of my diary is habitual, which is the way I work, the other 60% is proactive. Doesn't mean every day I get in I've got 60% free. It just means that week I might have proactively been booking sessions and things in. Then I'm every single week moving the needle by 60% more. And I think when you really focus in on that, you're able to go, no, that doesn't fit. Looked at a model, actually. I showed you the model yesterday, which is quite interesting, which is it important? Yes, not important. Is it urgent? Yes, not urgent. And it's just a simple quadrant, effectively. And within that quadrant, if it fits in the important and urgent, you do it now and you get it done. It's on you. And if it's not important, but it's urgent, then it needs to potentially get delegated to someone else. And then if it is important, but it's not urgent, then it gets systemized and scheduled and structured into a later date. And then if it sits in the bottom, it's not urgent, it's not important, you just delete it and get on with it. Something I picked up from the Simon Ledbetter session. And I just think that's a really good way of doing it. We had the other way of looking at it from Pete Leverdos in the kind of quadrant of £5 an hour to £1,000 an hour job.
Yep.
That was quite eye-opening for us. That whole process was probably a good lesson, actually, of working with Pete for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, bring in someone from the outside who has no emotional involvement in what you're doing and will just question you because he knows you know the answer.
Yeah.
But you're maybe just denying doing anything about it. Is always a good step. At a certain point is a good step. No doubt for the first 6 months, you've just got to get your head down and work. But then when the money starts coming in and everything starts rolling and twisting, bring someone in, whether it be the people who are running your brokerage, whether that be someone from the outside who knows a little bit about a few things, just to ask those questions and say, why are you doing that? What's the point?
Yeah.
Because and it will make you reflect and go, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Is that a total waste of my time, or can I outsource it? Will it make me faster, more automated, better? Will it make me earn more money in the long term because I can spend my time doing the things that make money rather than saving myself a fiver to drive 20 miles to do something?
Well, I mean, talking money and talking that part of it as well, I think it's really important that people have the numbers. They write things down. They focus on a simple P&L sheet, or simply just looking at your costs, looking at what you want to achieve that year. What are you trying to do? And not having like a whole list of 50 different things, but what are the 2 or 3 things you really want to focus on that year? And having stuff written down, and then having an accountability partner, be it a business coach or a business partner or a third party or someone else. That is very important. In fact, before we'd even launched Avocado, I remember talking to Josh Rayner, and I said, what's the one of the things for you and your business that you're really hot on? He's like, every single month I review the P&L and I'm ruthless on the things we don't use. And it kind of made me think about that when we every single month review the P&L. Do we really need that? And we're quite hot on making sure we're not wasting money on something that we're not getting good bang for buck from. Yeah,
because subscription businesses are rife.
Yeah, you just add them by accident.
Yeah, absolutely. That goes for home and business, no doubt.
Yeah. So I think being shrewd on your finances, but putting the time aside to actually focus on those. And remember that if you've got a good cash flow in profitable business, you can do a lot of things. You can buy a lot of time. You can help a lot of clients. You can improve your service. You can improve your quality of staff. You can buy back your own time. But if you've got no cash flow, everything just becomes silo focused on client gen, lead gen, getting money in, and then the quality disappears a little bit. So cash flow, that was another thing that we were taught, wasn't it, really? So some really good lessons there. I think for the partners, and I think for the agents, now we're in a position where we have fine-tuned the onboarding process. I think we're about to, with Callie's shifting role and things like that, we're about to upscale that again so that it's more of a modular-based, video-based onboarding program so that people can look at what they want whenever and go back to it as well, rather than that individual one-to-one training, which will always be there. There's more of a library for them to go back on. I think that will help. But we've learned about how much time certain people take to understand certain things. Some people need to go over things time and time again. Some people take it and run with it. I mean, even this year, we've seen it where some agents have just flown with something and you think, wow, I haven't even thought of any of that. And they're just doing it. And then some agents, just time and time again need the same stuff. That's okay. But it's just, we need to know that people need to get building blocks within their skill set almost and their mindset as well. And that does take a little bit of time. You have to be patient. It's not the market of 2021 where, let's be honest, anyone should be able to have been a self-employed agent more or less at that point, because it was popping. Now you show your worth, and that makes a big picture. What's your thoughts on launching and your value when you launch? Because, initially me and you thought before lockdown, we were going to offer like this really exclusive deal for the first 10 clients I think we were going to do. I can't remember what we said. We do like a £500 deal or something for the first 10 clients. That was kind of our initial thought on the marketing plan. And we totally poo-pooed the idea.
Yeah.
And we just went full fees because we were locked down. We couldn't list anything for 3 months. We were like, well, we don't have time to build that stock up now. We've got to get money in the pipeline. But what's your overall thoughts on that part of it for self-employed agents? You know, what is the right thing to do with their fees from day one?
I think people have got to look at going back to the finances and having a bit of financial nous. You're not a corporate that's got millions of pounds behind it to burn, to build a brand. That's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're replacing your employed role with a job where you call the shots. So you still have to find yourself a salary. So going down the route of doing my first 10 listings, first 15 listings free is a folly, because you'll find, rather than saying, hopefully I'll get paid in 4, 5, 6 months, you're saying, I definitely won't get paid for a year. And I'll be no further forward because I'll have built a reputation based on cheap rather than based on quality and discounting. So look at the clients who buy cheap. Why do people buy cheap? Because they don't believe in the service and they don't believe in what you do. In my opinion,
they're not fussed by it. Yeah.
They don't believe estate agents have value. So even when they do buy you for cheap, they're not going to respect you because they don't think you're worth very much. So unless you can get by on £500, and by the way, the average number of houses in a self-employed estate agent sells is probably 1.5 a month, so 18 in a year. If you can get by on 7.5 grand in a year, by all means, charge £500 per completion. But unless you're a Foxtons, where all your main number one goal when you open office, because Foxtons are the most famous for opening on 0%, is to just destroy the competition in 3 months, and it doesn't matter how much it costs you to do it, it won't work.
Yeah, because they've got 100 other officers funding that process. You don't have that.
Not bottomless pockets.
Yeah. I think it's easier to layer up a little bit on your fees, your expectations, your values, but it's very difficult if you've built a reputation with 10 or 12 people of being a 1% agent, for example, and then you've done a really good job and people are starting to recommend. One of the first things they're going to say is, oh, yes, use whoever. Oh, what did you pay? Oh, I paid X. Well, then straight away you have to charge that almost because that's what the original was. So you've got to be really clever on the launch. I do think that for some people, it's also about knowing the listing, knowing the property, knowing the client. If it's a red hot gonna sell and it's a main road board and it's a 4-bed family home, prime in your core patch, and that is a statement listing for you within the first 6 weeks of launching, effectively do whatever. And tell the client that's why you're doing whatever as well. And that's where you just go, I just need that listing, because you're making a statement to the market that these are the type of properties I list and sell. Whereas if there's something that's a bit more out of the area, or it's maybe a leasehold or something like that, then just be strong on your fees, because it's not got the same value as that other one. And that's the beauty where you're not in a corporate or a traditional chain estate agency, where you can do right by your business effectively. So have some intelligence behind that. But it's a good point on the listing stuff. Yeah, write down the goals, know what you're trying to achieve, focus on the finances, things that we've not really deviated from over the last 4 years. And probably something that we need to learn how to do better, me and you, that we haven't done, is probably celebrating the little wins as well, because we don't do that, do we? In truth, me and you, we kind of just go, all right, we hit £1 million first time ever. Awesome.
Well done, what's that?
Yeah. We launched a book. It went Amazon bestseller day one. Cool. And we just sort of carry on, or, we hit a certain number of figures or profit levels or whatever it may be. The bank account went to a certain number. We won the negotiator award. We sort of probably don't celebrate those as much as maybe we should do. Or maybe that's the right way of doing it, because we're so focused on the goal, the big goals.
Credit to those out there, people like the Chris Watkins of this world, who gave me an analogy of that. Have said, you guys are on the Eurostar train doing 200 miles an hour. You're sat in great seats, and the world is passing by at 200 miles an hour, but in your head it looks and it feels like you're sat still because of the way you've moved the business so far. You don't see the pace that you've gone at, and you don't see the impact that you're making of it going at 200 miles an hour. And you need to stop every so often and do exactly that. Celebrate the fact that you've just gone year 1, this, year 2, this, year 3, this, launch of book, award, blah, 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 3 new offices that we've had, everything that goes along with it, the new businesses, blah, blah. But yeah, we're not past a one line WhatsApp and an emoji.
I think
we just broke a record.
I don't know. Maybe if we were like flamboyant big drinkers still, we might have like got the first class ticket to Vegas with the bottle of Bolly. I don't know, but those times have kind of moved past us. But yes, celebrating those little wins. I think deep down we're happy with them and we're pleased by them. But yeah, we're not big in the whole kind of
an internal celebrator.
Yes, yeah. I'll go for a run. You go for a real Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah, takeaway. Well, look, that's seven episodes, 7 parts that we wanted to put out there. It's on a full playlist on YouTube. So if you're watching this as a rerun on LinkedIn or a clip on one of our Facebook pages or something like that, there is a full kind of playlist of 7 of these. And hopefully, whether people decide to go self-employed or they don't, whether they decide to use Avocado as their brokerage or they don't, or whether it's the Avocado agents that are watching it, hopefully people are taking value from these. And, you know, we've just been raw and honest with everything we've said here. So there was no kind of strategy and planning other than the subjects we wanted to discuss. It's all come straight off the dome, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. So thanks for watching.